freestyle video called RAD TV. So many cool tricks you have to see. Eddie, Michael, Woody, Martin, 25 pros do some how-tos and show you what they know. Giving you the rundown on flat-landed ramps. Better call in Mom, Dad, and Gramps. Blasting major air at the pipeline. Can-gans and inverts will blow your mind. Woody's cherry pickers don't end the list. Watch Dominguez do its 540 twist. Ripping on ramps and tearing up the street, dancing on their bikes right to the beat. Boy, these guys sure have fast feet. Randy Tischmann, Tony Murray, Curb Dog Vander. Don't miss Jeff Carroll's rad no-hander. Roller skate radness and side hack thrashing, plus alternate slamming and crashing. Don't forget a helmet, gloves, and knee pads. Grab a soda, grab a seat, it's time to get rad.
Ramps are rad, and skate parks are scary, but flatland freestyle redefines the term insane. When these ground guys hit the asphalt, you can count on one thing: perfection. Freestyle happens wherever you can find bodies and bikes. City streets, urban cul-de-sacs, and yes, even amusement parks. Freestyle was made in California, but Canada's Rob Thring is proof that it's being imported around the world. Rob's cockpit is a fresh flatland move straight from the Great White North. The cockpit starts with a basic wheel stand, and with generous amounts of body English and luck, becomes a hot beginner's balance move.
Ramp insanity. It's gone from 2-foot airs and kick turns to double-footed can-cans at 10 feet. In the old days, if you could get on the top of your ramp, you were superhuman. Nowadays, it's common practice. Plywood meccas are popping up all over the planet. We tracked down some of the sport's hottest astronauts to put together this RAD TV Ramp Fest. Guys and gals, this is hardcore rampaging.
Square one in the realm of ramp radness is the basic aerial. This move is the gateway to hundreds of variations that can catapult you into superstardom. To learn it, practice 180 bunny hops on flat ground, because that's what you're going to be doing when you try it on the ramps. Don't hurry yourself, though, because some of the sport's hottest guys took quite a while to learn this basic move.
The Pipeline State Park is undoubtedly the premier place in the world for aerial radness. Guys who ride the pipe the best are superstars in the world of freestyle. Guys like Eddie Fiola, Mike Dominguez, Tony Murray, Jeff Carroll, and Tim Rodgers have built their reputations on their ability to ride here. And you're about to see why. Excellent.
This concrete paradise is the home of the most incredible and possibly the most dangerous freestyle riding on Earth. The pipe itself is 20 feet high, and the bowl it leads into is almost 15 feet deep, nearly twice the height of the average quarter pipe. And like ramp riding, it's how high you go and what you do while you're up there that can make you a superstar.
Woody Itzen is Flatland Freestyle's top gun. Itzen adds flash to even simple moves like frame stands. This jump-up, one-footed variation proves why he is regarded by many as the greatest flatland specialist in the world today. You might want to give backwards frame stands a try. With both feet on the top tube platform, steer yourself until you feel in control. At that point, stand up and steer by shifting your weight from side to side. To pull out of it, lower yourself to a seated position on the bars and pivot back to the saddle.
Once you can get a few feet out doing basic aerials, it's time to start building your collection of variations. The one-hander and one-footer are two of the most basic. Here are a few tips to get you started. For the one-hander, take your hand off the grip a little at a time. Usually the lower hand is easiest to remove, and be sure to watch your bars when you put your hand back on, because missing the grips can spell disaster. The one-footer is a little trickier because you need to lock your back brake and put your weight on the forward pedal. The key to this trick is to slide your foot off sideways and then put it back on the pedal before you land. Oh, and one other thing, be sure to release the brake before you land.
At the pipeline, the one-footer is every bit as stylish, but twice as dangerous. You need much more speed to get out of the deep bowl, and as a result, the consequences of a mistake are much greater. As with riding a ramp, it's essential to have both feet back on the pedals before you come down.
Meet Martin Aparicio, Flatland Freestyle's chairman of the board. Two-star moves like Martin's sit and spin have gained him international acclaim at every contest he's entered. To hit a sit and spin, get rolling at a steady speed and jump onto the top tube with both feet. While holding the grips, turn your back to the bars and switch hands. Step back onto the pedals and move to the saddle. To finish out the trick, pivot on the saddle and grab the bars. Martin does as many spins on the seat as his bike speed will allow, and he always moves one foot and one hand at the same time to keep his balance.
Another beginner move that will amaze your friends is the X-Up. Do a basic air, but put your weight farther back and open up your legs to give yourself room to spin the bars. Of course, the higher you are, the more time you'll have to put the bars back in their normal position. Our factory flyboy Mark McGlynn has this and many other moves wired. It sure must help to have one of SoCal's most happening half-pipes in his backyard.
If there's anyone who deserves the title the king of the skate parks, it's Eddie Fiola. His performances at the pipeline are the stuff of which legends are made. Though only 5'4" and 125 pounds, Eddie is a true giant in the freestyle world. There is probably no better all-around rider in the sport, and there is surely no place Eddie would rather show his stuff than the pipeline.
Fred Blood is the king of freestyle's action boys. The captain is as much at home in a pair of roller skates as he is behind the wheel of a Formula race car. Before Fred launched into the freestyle scene, he honed his aggression in the vertical roller skate wars. With several world titles from that sport under his belt, Fred thought it was time to scan the BMX scene. Fred's quick change is a cool move that anyone can add to his list of tricks. Start out by grabbing your front brake and stepping on the top tube with your left foot. Keep hopping to maintain your balance. Step over the bars with your right foot and stand on the front tire. Make your quick change by twisting around and switching the position of your feet. To finish the trick, do another twist, switch your feet back to the pedals, and step down. Now you're set to flow into the next groovy move, Woody Itzen's pedal picker. Coaster brakes are a must for this trick, so make sure your bike meets the requirement. Ride into it just like you would for the Decade, except keep your feet on the pedals. In one quick move, lock your rear handbrakes, pull up on the bars, and jump over the head tube with your left leg. With both feet on your pedals, start hopping up and down to gain your balance. To ride out of it, let go of your grips, grab both fork legs, and flip the bike upside down. From here you can ride away like Woody does, or invent your own upside down variations.
Killer ramp variations are where contests are won and lost. The best advice many of the top pros offer is to start slow and work your way to the more advanced tricks. Once you're ready to start learning more variations, it's helpful to remember that the more body parts you take off, the hotter the trick will be. Whether it's a contest or a show, the one ramp variation that's always great to know is the one-hander, one-footer. Lock your rear brake in the air as you slide your foot off the bottom pedal. At the same time, you also want to be taking your bottom hand off the bars. Don't try this unless you have both the one-hander and the one-footer wired. Donovan Ritter rages ramp surfaces wherever he goes, but his best airtime is put in on his own ramp near San Diego.
The can-can is the raddest one-footer you can do, but you have to be quick. Watch how Eddie Fiola works the pipe, going back and forth inside it to build up speed and momentum before dropping into the bowl, shooting up the wall, and snapping off another perfect can-can. flexibility adds creativity. You can do your kick on either side. Either way, you need plenty of air to pull this off.
Brake control and body English are the keys to hitting killer crickets. Start out by doing a front brake endo with your feet on the chainstays. As your back wheel lifts off, bend at your knees and release your brakes. This pumping action will make the bike roll backwards. To bring the back end down, drag the front brakes and straighten your legs. Repeating these moves will keep you rolling for days. Martin earns extra style points with crickets by tossing in bar spins and occasional front wheel sliders just to wow the crowd. The decade, or walk around, is one of the tricks that gives freestyle its breakdancing look. With your feet on the rear pegs, do a small front brake endo to gain backward momentum. As your back wheel touches the ground, lock your rear brakes and jump your right foot onto the top tube. Quickly push off with this foot and walk around the head tube with your left foot. As your front wheel comes back to earth, step onto the right pedal, release the rear brakes, and ride away.
Ground tricks aren't the only area of freestyle where you can get creative. Any freestyler who can ride a bike can create his own tricks. The basic look back has taken on many different forms over the years. One-handed look backs and can look backs are proof positive that the sky is the limit when inventing new aerial creations. Kuahara's Tim Rodgers brings you some slow-mo styling as he leads the way to look back lunacy. Look backs are done at least 3 feet out, so before you try laying one on the neighborhood, be sure you can get at least that far out.
Kuahara's Tim Rodgers is one of the hottest young riders to come out of the pipeline in years. You've already seen what he can do on ramps. He's just as impressive at the pipe. Tim is a master of aerial versatility. With a half pipe in his backyard and the pipeline only 30 minutes from his house, it's no wonder that Tim is as hot as he is. He's only 16 and he's still getting better.
When freestyle's mad scientist Brian Skura isn't concocting high-tech hardware for the masses, he usually spends his time dreaming up new moves to wow the crowds at shows around the world. The Miami Overture is Brian's hottest creation. The trick starts out with a basic Miami hopper, but things get pretty hectic soon after that. When both grips hit the ground, grab the rear axle pegs with your hands. Shift your weight back and let the bike flip up on the saddle. Grab the front tire with your left hand and switch your feet on the pedals. To ride out of the upside-down position, pedal your bike, pull up on the forks, and go into a regular seat grinder. Freestyle is a sport for everyone, from old-timers like Brian Skura to pint-sized wonder kids like Mongoose's Trevor Hernandez. Trevor doesn't do all his styling on a 20-inch, though. His brand of radness is perfect for the scooter scene, too.
Fakies can vary in radness from the 2-star run-of-the-mill fakie to the 4-star fakie air that Mike Dominguez gets into. The most important thing to remember when doing fakies is to keep yourself centered on the bike. Keep your arms and legs loose, because if you tense up, you'll probably bail.
They call him Tony the Tiger, and it's not hard to see why. Tony Murray is one of the most fearless skate park riders in the country. He was the king of the Del Mar Skate Ranch when that park was in its heyday, and he has no trouble bringing those skills to the pipeline. He's an aggressive rider who can shred anything, from vertical concrete to chain-link fences. Both Tony and Eddie make fence plants look easy, but they're best reserved for the pros. Just try to imagine flying up and out of the pipe, landing on top of a narrow rail, then jumping back in. There's a fine line between perfection and disaster at the pipe. Concentration is critical. Remember, it's a long drop to the bottom of the tunnel, and you don't want to make a mistake.
Skyway's Maurice Meyer is a serious street styler from the San Francisco Bay Area. Although slippery tiles aren't the best surface for hardcore radness, Drob doesn't have any problem blasting killer 540 spinners on them. Maurice has a healthy arsenal of power moves to his credit as well. The backwards gut lever is probably the scariest looking, but it's also one of the easiest to learn. Roll backwards at a medium speed with a reversed grip on your handlebars. Lean your body into your elbows and slowly support your weight on your arms, concentrating on keeping your legs straight for maximum style points.
Kuahara's Randy Tischmann explodes into action again with the Tischvert, which basically is a one-footed invert. Randy is world-renowned for his inverts, and it's the aggro styling that Randy gives to the trick that makes his name a part of it. The object of the invert is to get your wheels higher than the handlebars. Taking off a foot adds another star to this 3-star trick. When the can was invented in early 1985, it blew people's minds. Once they were used to seeing the standard can-can, the one-handed can-can followed. Since then, the limits have been pushed with the no-footer can-can. The basic can-can is a 3-star move and can usually be learned in less than a week.
One of the wildest areas at the pipeline is the treacherous combi pool. It's long been a favorite with the top skaters, but BMXers like it too. When it comes to variety, there's nothing like the combi. It's actually 2 bowls combined in one. Half of it is square, the other half is round, and the whole thing is radical. You can carve it, fly out of it, practice ground tricks alongside it, or even jump the canyon leading into it. It's got 4 feet of vert and coping too, so it's no place for beginners. But for the experienced rider, this bowl can be a blast.
Freestyle lives in the streets, then Kuwahara's Dave Vanderspeck calls the city's sidewalks his home. This curb dog raised moves like his Vanderroll and this boneless rebate from the pavement. And freestyle magician Randy Tischmann is no slouch on the ground either. He pulls off moves like his Randy roll like rabbits out of a hat. If Randy Tischmann is the freestyle magician, then Pat Romano is the sport's Mr. Hollywood. Pat's style of artistic cycling has landed him countless parts in TV shows, advertisements, and major motion pictures. Pat's GT Performer is specially designed for acrobatic or circus stunts. He uses a direct drive rear hub so that he can pedal in both directions. This modification helps Pat make all of his moves look much easier than they really are.
The front wheel grabber is a variation for guys that have the one-hander down. To do it, all you have to do is pull the bars towards you a tad, reach over and grab the front wheel. You can score additional style points with the judges or the crowd by going for a rear wheel grabber. This move is actually a variation of the invert, but can also be thrown in on many other moves.
Wheel grabbers are a staple of radness at the pipeline as well. Here, Tim Rodgers demonstrates his best front wheel variation, while Tony Murray does one of his classic rear wheel slappers.
Smilin' Seppi Mays is freestyle's flatland funny man. He's also one of the sport's most innovative and original riders. Like most of Seppi's tricks, the Ant Rider requires axle pegs and locking levers in order to pull it off. On the list of most difficult flatland tricks, Seppi's finger flip lies very near the top. Start out by doing back wheel hops with both brakes locked. Leap from your axle pegs and swing the bike in front of you, grabbing the fork with your left hand and guiding the bike with the right. Continue hopping while placing your left foot on the pedal in front of it. To get out of it, pull the forks toward you, grab the grips, and place your right foot on the fork peg. Seppi likes to lean forward on re-entry to avoid looping out. Seppi's teammate Diz Hicks is the master of upside-down insanity. Tricks like the heavy metal maniac's Diz Flip redefine the term radness. Innovative riders like Diz Hicks aren't afraid to bend the rules when inventing new moves, and you shouldn't be either. One rule smart riders never bend, however, is the rule on safety. Even though Diz isn't fully suited up in a CW uniform, he still remembers to ride with gloves, a helmet, and long pants for leg protection. After watching Diz do the mega trick, it's no mystery why using safety gear is so important in freestyle.
Woody Itzon and other ground guys have found that the short ramp is an excellent way to cross over into the world of ramp antics. Ramp regulars like Diz Hicks have done short ramp routines since day one.
With sit and kitten spins in your bag of tricks, preparing for backwards infinity rolls will be a cinch. Once you're backwards and on the seat, move your outside foot to the axle peg and tap your front brake. Push the back tire with your free foot to start rolling, and use your outside arm for balance. To put yourself back on the bike, lay it down and jump back on the pedals. Straighten your bars after you've ridden out.
Two can play at the ramp game to form a killer doubles routine for shows. Brian Blyther and Ron Wilkerson made the cover of BMX Plus with their insane double airs. The most important thing to remember in doing double airs is to have a wide enough ramp to pull it off. Dave Vanderspeck and Mike Dominguez show that timing and absolute trust is crucial.
As if the concrete bowls at the pipe weren't challenging enough for one rider, just imagine what it would be like with two guys on the same bike. Dale Perez and Frank Garrido are two of the zaniest freestylers you'll find anywhere. Put them together on a BMX side hack, and you've got insanity personified. Today they're working on their latest creation, the ejection seat flyaway. First attempt? No go! But these guys don't give up that easily. Their objective is to try to launch Frank over the fence. Frank has never done this before. Let it be stressed that full safety gear is an absolute must, especially for anything as risky as this. Attempt number 2, he just misses. The guys decide to give it one last try. They build up speed, hurdle up the wall, and Frank flies up and over. They've pulled it off.
The bar ride is undoubtedly the most difficult trick in freestyle today. Concentration, balance, and speed are everything. Don't make the mistake of going too slow. Without using your brakes, jump from the pedals onto the crossbar. Practice bar rides by getting in and out of this position first. When you feel under control up there, slowly release the grips and stand up. To ride out, lower yourself down, grab the grips, and step down to the top tube.
One thing you can't leave out, people, is safety equipment. Whether you're ripping up your backyard ramp or shredding the concrete at the pipeline, a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, and gloves are a matter of life and limb. When you see the top stars of the sport in this video with their safety gear on, it's not because we made them use it, but because they know it's cool not to spend riding time in the hospital. If the guys you ride with think they're too cool to wear their safety equipment, talk them into it. It's for their own good.